Yes, you are listening to the Ready, Set, Retire radio podcast with Steve Anzuoni. My name is Jessica Forkel. Get more details on the website at fairwayfinancial.net. I'm reminded of something I saw on social media when it comes to your work. I'm not saying don't work hard. Let me give that disclaimer. Yes, go to work,
Right.
work hard, do all the things. But it said when one day you're not in that office, for whatever reason, you retire, they're going to pack up your desk and put the next person in there. Basically, prioritize your life before you prioritize your working. Does that make sense?
100% it makes sense. I mean,
Yeah, they're going to replace you. Yeah.
I'm in the business of helping people retire, but I'm also in the business of helping people get organized, to enjoy their life, to try to live it now and not wait for the future, because, the future can be now. So it's a delicate balance just because you want to enjoy now, but you also need to save for the future. We all know this. And it was easier in the past because pensions were there. So most people had Social Security and pensions, and they just went about their lives, did their thing, and when they retired, they were set, mostly. Usually they had no debt. In today's world, it's very different. People are moving 5 or 6 or 7 times in their lifetime. Not only they're moving jobs, they're moving homes. It's very common today. So that's why I developed the book, right? That's why I wrote the book, and I talked about buckets of money. I had someone come in today. She's very nice, a good client. She just got married. So she came in and she had my book and she started talking to me about buckets of money. She goes, okay, so Steve, we set up this bucket and then we have over here and then the emergency bucket. Like, it was really cool to hear somebody else using my language and throwing it back at me in a good way as a planning stage. And that made me feel pretty good. Of course, then she opened up a couple of pages in the book and said, you had some misspellings because she was a teacher. And I'm like, I said, I try to proofread it 1,000 times, but, I am not perfect. But it was funny. She goes, here's my card if you ever want it to be edited.
I love that.
And I said, fine. But no, it was really cute.
Well, she came prepared. She came with the knowledge. She came with
the notes,
questions. Yeah, that's important.
It was great. It was really good. And I've been doing, that I'm very proactive when it comes to reviews and letting people know, hey, your annual review is up, your anniversary and your policy is up, all this stuff. And sometimes it's a routine. You don't think about it. But boy, I'll tell you, recently, you talk about people changing courses. So I had like five or six meetings in the last 2 weeks with existing clients who we put on a plan. And this is why I don't do anything autopilot that you have to just keep up. So they come in and we're just having a chat, say, hey, here's where we're at. What's going, how's the job? What's going on? And I've had like 4 or 5 people say, well, I'm retiring next year instead of in 5 years.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, whoa. I said, I'm so happy we came in and we addressed this because we were setting up plans for 5 or 6 years out. So now we had to make some really quick adjustments and moves to make sure that the plan fits what the customer's doing. That's why I'm proactive, and I'm very happy I was, because if I wasn't, it could have been a train wreck. You got to have money in the right spots for the right reason. I can't emphasize this enough. And just having it all in one pile, usually in a 401k, is not the solution. It's a good part of the solution, don't get me wrong, but it cannot be the entire plan. Look, I know these folks aren't alone. I know there are hundreds, if not thousands of people out there who listen to this show who are probably in the same boat. Like when people come to my workshop, I say to them, look, this is not my workshop. This is yours. So you need to ask questions. And they're like, oh, because, some of the workshops they go to, they don't allow questions. I'm like, that's ridiculous. You're here with your time. I know. Listen, I'm not kidding. There's a reason I'm the best on the Cape. Okay, I'm a little biased, but I've been told this by many, many people who've attended other workshops.
Well, you're the best on the Cape. I'm going to brag on you a little bit. You're the best on the Cape because you are Cape Cod's retirement income specialist. And when I say that, I mean, you put your over 30 years of experience to use, right? Your practice helps many, many families focus on that income phase and those retirement years.
I mean, The passion's there. I love what I do. And I say the Cape, but I live in Plymouth, and I've got clients all over the place, not even in Mass, but all over the country, really, because they've moved, they've done things, but they still want to talk to me. And I love that. It's great. It's awesome. So I carry a lot of energy into these things. But it's really important, and I know there's a lot of people out there who are like, okay, I'm not sure. I think I can retire. Maybe I can. I've got money in my 401k and all this other stuff. But look, if you like what I'm saying and it makes sense, don't just say, hey, that sounds great. Be proactive. Pick up the phone. Make a phone call, okay? It could be one of the best things you've ever done for yourself, not only financially, but mentally, to put yourself in a better place to know, okay, I'm going to try to retire in a year and it's not feasible, or 2 years, and I'm going to be very straight with you and say, look, you either can or you can't, okay? I'm not going to mince words. I'm going to tell you exactly where you're at, because that's how I want people to talk to me, to let me know, here's the real deal, here's what's going on. I don't want to be fed words and all this stuff, okay? If you like the sound of that, I would love to have the opportunity to have you come in the office. The office is great. My staff is fantastic. Our beautiful office is right in downtown Hyannis on Main Street, behind Columbo's Restaurant. Everybody who's local knows that restaurant. Wonderful Italian food. And we're right behind there on Main Street. This is a wonderful time of year to come. It's less crowded, which is a nice way of saying, Jess, there's not a lot of tourists all over the place.
Of course not, yeah.
But it's a really beautiful time of year. The businesses are open. They're here. Just let them know how they can get a hold of us, and I'd love to have the opportunity to speak with you.
This is where this income and portfolio review comes when you sit down with Steve. You'll also get a copy of his book, Tee Up Your Retirement. Again, a great resource there to understand the different buckets of money that he'll work with you on. Again, this is all specific to you and your situation. So put life in perspective. Tomorrow's not promised. Time is flying by. Take care of yourself. Make yourself a priority here. Again, this is complimentary. That phone number, 508-552-3230, 508-552-3230. That website, of course, fairwayfinancial.net. Many Americans plainly just aren't confident they're going to be able to retire. In fact, 20% in a recent poll by Natixis said that it would take a miracle. So I want to know from you, do you have folks coming in saying, Steve, it's going to take a miracle for me to do this? I mean, how am I supposed to keep up with inflation in life? Help me.
It's not unusual with everything going on in people's lives today, and all the media, social media crashing down on them, saying you need $1.5 million, you need $2 million, and putting all this ridiculous pressure on people to try to save money. And then, you've got other life situations. Like a lot of my clients are in the same position I'm in now, where I have an elderly parent and they're living alone. My mom is very stubborn, which is probably why she's, still with us. My dad passed at 91, okay? Mm-hmm. And the cardiologist said there was no way he was getting past 89, and he had some pleasant exchanges with the cardiologist on that one. And my dad was right. So my mom's 89. She's doing okay. She's living alone, second floor. And I have a lot of clients who's in this situation where they've got to take care of themselves. They've got to take care of an elderly parent, which, of course, you got to do with your parents. Of course you do. And it puts a stressful time on all of us. And then we're sitting there saying, okay, do I have enough money? Do I have $1 million? Do I have $750? I mean, this guy I'm not good enough to see this guy and all this stuff. You wouldn't believe the stories I hear when people come in. And it's absolutely ridiculous, okay? Mm-hmm. The bottom line is that when people come in to see me, what you have is what you have. It doesn't matter about why you have that now, the past, or anything like that. You just got to focus on where you are today, and more importantly, are you taking advantage of the opportunities that are around you today? Are you putting enough in your 401k? Do you know what the numbers are? Do you know what you can do? Does your company match? I mean, if they match, you got to do at least the match. You're making 100% return on your money. So just little stuff like that I can be a guide for, all right? Because, I had this couple come in last week. Wonderful folks, okay? They're both in their late 70s. And they've been listening to the show, Jess, for like, I don't know, since I started it, like 10 years ago, right?
That's awesome. Well, shout out to you guys. Thanks for that.
Yeah. So they came in and they had done some other stuff with some other people, which is fine. So they come in, they show me what they've done, and it was okay. It wasn't a terrible thing, but unfortunately, the person who put them there never stayed in touch, never told them what was going on. It's just ridiculous, all right? And so he basically fired him and got rid of him, which I don't blame him. So I said, look, you're fine. You've done a good job. But do you understand, what are you trying to do with the money? Like, what's the objective? And he said, okay, well, this is IRA money. I don't need the income right now. He goes, I have to take the minimums. I said, that's fine. He goes, then I have another pile that is really for my family. It's a legacy plan. And I said, okay, so you're not going to touch this at all. He goes, nope, I'm very fortunate. I don't need it. I says, wonderful. I said, where you are now is okay. And if you were going to take income from it, it would be an okay plan. But since you're not, you have a better opportunity to do more with the money, to provide more to your family, whether it's your spouse, your kids, your grandkids, whatever it is. And he's sitting there with Wyatt. He goes, really? I says, listen, let me tell you something. What's going on today. This is how quickly my world changes in this industry and why I'm an independent. So he had a couple of annuities, and they were fine. There was nothing wrong with them, but again, one wasn't in the right place. So I said to him, look, we can take this particular annuity, keep it tax sheltered like you want it, move it to another company that's going to give you 50% day one for basically death purposes. It's not a 50% bonus that you can run away and take while you're living. I said, so there's some catches to it, but the catches are perfect for your situation. So catch one, he had like 300, and it's going to become 450 the next day, Jess. The next day.
Huge. Wow.
So the catch is, upon his death, his beneficiary or beneficiaries, whoever it goes to, has to take that pile over at least 5 years. That's the catch, or longer. And he goes, well, that's not a big deal. He goes, I have other monies elsewhere. He goes, that's beautiful to get that much of return. I said, but not only that, with the minimum guarantees and everything else it has, the likelihood is it's going to average right around what your plan is averaging now, like 5.5% every year added to that. So by the time his fixed interest rate was up in 4 or 5 years, his pile would have grown to like, I don't know, 350. And in 5 years at this pile, it'd be around 500. Do you think that's a difference?
Huge difference.
And by the way, he didn't do anything wrong. The problem was that the people he had spoken to before didn't take the time to ask the right questions and to do their homework. All right? That's the difference. I ask. I have knowledge, 35 years plus. I know what to ask. My industry is more complicated every year, every week, which is why I talk about my team, that I have a team like an attorney who does trusts and wills. And I call him my money guy, but he's my money manager guy, right? I've known him for 30 years. My team has almost 100 years of practical experience, okay? That is something you just can't read in a book. We have the knowledge. We will work with you and help you. You don't have to have, well, you got to have $5 million to step into our office. We don't work like that. That's just ridiculous, all right? I mean, I wasn't brought up that way. I'm a blue-collar kid. My dad was a cop in Everett. And ironically, this gentleman came from Revere. Perfect, right? He related to me, and there's a lot of people out there who can relate to that. But knowledge that's not used is a waste. It really is. I mean, look, if you're going to take the time and listen to the show, take it, act on it. If it's in your best interest, do it. Okay? And if it's not, don't, right? But you got to know. You don't know what you don't know. And this gentleman, wonderful man and his wife, they just didn't know. They thought, okay, that's probably the best place to put it. But fortunately, he was proactive, listened to the show, made a call, came in, had a wonderful conversation. We're going to meet up again. And I'm so excited to be able to share these ideas with him because he's just a super nice guy. And there's a lot of nice people out there, too. Be proactive. Pick up the phone. I'd just love to have an opportunity to chat because you won't believe what you're going to get from me as far as knowledge and tidbits that you probably never even thought to ask.
Get more details on the website, fairwayfinancial.net. That's fairwayfinancial.net.
Steve Anzuoni is a licensed insurance provider by the Division of Insurance and is not registered as an investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve Anzuoni, Massachusetts Insurance License 3851053. Annuity guarantees rely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. Read your contract for restrictions, limitations, or penalties. Steve Anzuoni is not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if Steve Anzuoni is licensed in your state, please call 508-398-3337.